Welcome to 435 Update. We're glad you're with us, and we have a real treat today. We have Mrs. Zai from the Middle School Media Center who's going to visit with us a little bit about the ins and outs of Middle School Media Center. And we're going to start out by just asking Mrs. Zai, tell us a little bit about your path to the Media Center at the middle school. How did you get here?
It was not a straight path. I started out, well, I've lost track of time now, but I think it's my 27th year in Abilene schools. I started out at McKinley teaching, well actually I started out at Kennedy student teaching, second grade, back before our buildings were grade attendance centers. And then I taught at McKinley second grade for 14 years. And then had the opportunity to do a tech grant for 2 years. And so I worked with 4 school districts, Abilene being one of them, and got involved in the technical side of some of education's finer points. Learned a lot during those 2 years. At the end of those 2 years, our 8th grade math position opened up, and so I came to the middle school as a math teacher. Did that for 10 years, and then this is my 3rd year in the media center at Abilene Middle School. So again, like I said, took a lot of twists and turns, but I've loved each spot that I've been in, and have been happy that the district has been able to provide me with so many wonderful opportunities.
New challenges every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I love the unknown.
What is one of the favorite things you do in the media specialist position and in this room? And
well, there are so many different things, so many facets to this job, but probably, and it just happened recently, one of the most exciting things is when new books come in. It is like Christmas. So we just got a new shipment of books, and I love when the kids walk through and see me start unpacking the boxes, and they're like, are those new books? And they can't wait till we get them all processed and ready for them. And so that's probably one of the most exciting parts of the library, plus just getting to see, I get to see all the kids. You know, when you're in a classroom, sometimes you're limited in who you get to see. I get to meet with all the kids and talk with all the kids every day and see them in different aspects of their schooling instead of just in math or just in literature. I get to see all the different facets of their education. So I really like that part of it too.
And I know that you've put together some new and exciting things over the last couple of years while you've been in here to get kids to really just love literature and really understand, you know, the benefits of getting into a book and just, you know, that literature circle type of. Right.
Coming from, I think, elementary background too, I realized the importance of having a love of reading and not feeling like that is a drudgery. So that is a challenge, because we do have reluctant readers or struggling readers, and so that has been one of the things I've really worked on, is trying to find ways to get kids to read. And one of the most exciting things, and it's happened this year several times, I'll have students come in and tell me they've never in their entire life finished a book. And that makes me so sad, because they're missing so much, and so it really is a challenge to find that. So it's so exciting when a kid comes in and I finished this book and I want another one. And so that is a real challenge for me. And so I try to find books, and we have a lot of resources we can find those now. Find books for struggling readers, reluctant readers, and with our technology, you know, we have some options there I think we'll talk about too. But one thing our literature teachers do, which is fantastic, is they use something called Project Read, or sometimes they'll call it Learn to Earn, but the kids log minutes and keep track of books they're reading, and they'll answer questions along the way for comprehension. But then all the kids are tracking minutes. So every quarter we have a reading celebration to celebrate these kids, and it's just like a pep assembly for our sports teams, but it's a pep assembly for our readers, and it has been fantastic. Our literature teachers work very hard to have a theme, but every quarter we all go down to the gym and we recognize our top 5 readers in every grade, and then we recognize the top 5 readers overall, and then they always do some kind of activity where they're competing. But it's and then this last time they even showed the number of minutes that our entire 6th through 8th have been reading.
Wow.
And I think it's really neat for the kids to see that they're chalking up those minutes. In our leadership groups and in our STAR, we set goals, and our goals will be for a STAR to reach a certain number of minutes. But I think it's a great way for the kids to find that love of reading. And it's now become this competition, because sometimes we have repeat winners. And so you have other students, and their main goal is to kind of knock that person off by reading more minutes. And so it's really, I think, created a healthy competition for finding that love of reading. So those have been fantastic.
Is it minutes by 9 weeks then?
Right. They set a goal for each quarter, 9 weeks, and then at the end of the 9 weeks we announce our winners. And then it starts over for that next quarter.
So you just had an assembly then?
Yeah, we had our, Okay. Well, we haven't had our second.
Second quarter's assembly?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we had or not. I know we've done our first.
Okay.
because we did, yeah, we were right at Christmas, right before
Okay.
Christmas break. We did our
All
second
right.
one, yeah, because
Very cool.
they did a Christmas themed competition. It was very cute.
Very cool. Now you also have technology has been kind of an integral part of the changes from used to be called a library, and now it's called a media center.
Yeah.
And I think because of the different media that you have access to, I think what we'll do is break here, and then we'll talk a little bit about how technology has changed the idea of the media center.
Yes, because it
Okay.
has. We'll do that.
All right.
Ride on into Riddle's Western Wear in Abilene for a great selection of jeans, boots, Western styles, and name brands for the working family. Riddle's Western Wear for the cowboy or cowgirl and all of us. Opening a child savings account, buying your first home, or planning your retirement? Everyone is welcome at Great Plains Federal Credit Union. Great Plains Federal Credit Union, placing people before profits.
Century Business Systems provides local Savin sales and service, competitive pricing, and simplified solutions for all of Abilene's copier and printer needs.
Midway Bar and Grill on Old Highway 40 is your local stop, offering fresh food and a great time. Open 6 days a week for lunch and dinner. Come in or call ahead today and try one of the best burgers in the area. West Plaza Country Mart, your friendly community grocery store. Now with online grocery shopping for home delivery or in-store pickup. Call, click, or stop in today. Be the belle of the ball when you shop Abilene Bridal and Formal Wear, offering elegant evening dresses and tuxedos for all occasions. Abilene Bridal and Formal Wear, where dreams come true.
All right, we are back to the Middle School Media Center, and I have here Mrs. Zai. She is our media specialist for the middle school. And we were just sitting here visiting about the progression of the Media Center over the years. And we think it's been about 15 years maybe since we had the card catalog, and how we've transitioned over the years with technology. And so we're going to just visit a little bit about how that has impacted what we do. I think our kids still enjoy pulling a good book off the shelf and reading it, but there are some other things with management and some access that we have available to us now that we didn't.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about
I
that?
will. Like I was telling Dr. Guy, I was glad I wasn't here when they did the switch over. I can't imagine the nightmare of trying to get all the books in electronic form, but it is done. So we don't have a card catalog in our library. Basically, every kid carries around their card catalog on their iPad. We use a program called Atrium, and so the kids can search every book in our library, whether it's an ebook or a physical book. It shows up on Atrium. They can reserve books through Atrium. They can renew their book through Atrium. They just can't physically check it out if it's a book. They'll have to come in here to see us for that, but it really gives them a lot of freedom. It also really makes searching easy because our students know their Lexile score, which is basically gives them a reading range. So we want to try to find books that fit kids, that aren't too difficult, aren't too easy, so they can search using their Lexile range. And all the books we have in their range will pop up. They can search using Lexile and an interest. So if they like mystery, we can find the mystery books we have that fit their reading level. And then when the books do pop up on the screen, they can see whether it's an ebook or an actual book, whether we have multiple copies. You had mentioned before kids liking to pull off a physical book. It's been kind of fun. I think I'm here during almost like a transition time, because when I first started in here, I preferred a book. I had a hard time reading a book on a device. So 2 summers ago, I forced myself to read a physical book and then an ebook, and then a physical book and an ebook. So now it really, to me, it doesn't matter. And what I'm seeing more with our kids now, because it used to be more of them preferred an actual book. Now what they prefer is, and I think we'll see this more, they don't care what form, they want the book as quickly as they can get it. So if they are on hold for a book, they don't care if it's the ebook or the book, they just want the book. And so I'm seeing that more now. It's not so much which form, but how quickly can I get the book? That's the one I want, which I think is a good thing. We also have quite a few books that we have on our iPad that are multi-user books, which have been great for our Longhorn or MTSS time, because a teacher can have all of the kids check out the same book at the same time, do a book study or a book club. For our struggling readers, you can read along with them. So that has been a benefit. I'm also starting to use the ebooks more. In fact, I just had a kid bring in a great book. I call them Well Loved because it's just falling apart. I've repaired it enough times, it's not going to get repaired anymore. So that's a book, and it's a great big book, and those are hard to keep nice, and we want kids checking them out. So I can get that book as an ebook. So I'll
Okay.
replace it as an ebook, then we'll have it forever. It won't get damaged, it won't get lost. And I found it in multi-access, I can get it for multi-users. So I can get that book and let everybody check it out. So I'm starting to do that more with some of our books that are our more well-loved books, trying to get them in that e-form, because then we'll have them, and any
I know
kid can get them.
when I'm reading a book, like when we went to Germany one summer, and you couldn't just go buy a book, but you could sure download one
Right.
and keep one going on all the trains and read it. And
Well, that's
so
what's
that
nice.
easy access.
Absolutely, like you
is
said,
really
downloading the book
wonderful.
with our students with Atrium. We use an app called Discover through our Atrium, but the kids they can find a book and they can choose to read it online or download it to their device. So they can read in their car. They can read coming home from sports practice. They can read. I mean, they don't
and
need
get
to have
another
Wi-Fi
book immediately.
Exactly, and the book's never overdue. It's never lost or damaged, so it really has been a benefit. And like I said, I'm seeing that transition where some kids
Okay.
really did pull, just like us, they kind of pulled back from that ebook. I'm seeing that less and less, and they're starting to want.
Interesting.
It is. It's been a fun kind of transition to see. We still have some that prefer the book, and that's fine. We have those too. But I think we'll start to see that happen, that they don't care which form, they just
They
want
just
the book.
want to be able to get
They
it.
just want to be able to get that book.
So when you get a new shipment of books in, how do you get the word out? How do you let kids know?
Well, we have a regular checkout system here, so every kid comes to the library on a regular basis. And when they come in, that's when I try to really hit them with all kinds of information. So I do book talks on almost all of our books.
Okay.
I use Canvas, which is our application all of our students use, and I'll post pictures or I'll send out messages, especially if I know there's certain kids that are looking for a book. I'll send them out a message and say, hey, that book you've been waiting on is in. But they love the book talks and they look forward to those. The other thing that has helped is I do have to order the new books, and I didn't realize that was going to be one of my more difficult jobs. I know what kind of books I like, but I have to order books that a lot of
kids
different
like.
readers like. So genres that I never read before, I need to find out what kind of books the kids like. So what I started was a discussion group in our Canvas, and the kids can request a book, and there's 4 requirements. They have to give the title spelled correctly, the author spelled correctly, tell whether it's a new book, part of a series, or just an additional book we need because we need more of that copy. And then they have to provide a link to some type of a review
Okay.
that proves that it fits in our library, that it would be a good book for
appropriate
our
book.
middle school library. And so in the past, I would say that on those discussions, I probably order 95% of the books that come through on those discussions. So they're books that the kids have
So
said.
the kids are determining.
So
what
that,
books
so when
are
the
in their
order comes
library.
in, I'll say, hey, this is, 10 of these are right off that discussion. And so that has helped because they know it's the books they're asking for. And that's helped me so much because it is hard to know what everybody else wants to read. And this way it has helped me kind of broaden my horizons. I was not a graphic novel reader. Kids this age love graphic novels, and they are fantastic. It's one of those myths that kind of got busted for me. Graphic novels are similar to like a comic book. They have a lot of pictures and text, and a lot of parents and teachers mistakenly think they're easy books. And a lot of them actually have a higher lexile than some of
Than
your
a-
different books. It's the way the text is placed on the page, the vocabulary being used. So yes, there are a lot of pictures, but it also they're coming out. They have biographies. There's nonfiction, fiction, all different kinds that are in graphic novels, and so a lot of kids this age really like that type of book. I never would have read one, but now it's a genre that I like, and I'm ordering more because kids really enjoy those. I'm also trying to push nonfiction. Our kids really should be reading about 50% fiction, 50% nonfiction, and they kind of pull away from nonfiction because they think it's a textbook. That's their interpretation is it's just questions, answers. We have some fantastic nonfiction books, but they kind of get hidden in the scary numbered section of the library. So I pull those out a lot, and we'll do book talks and show the kids some of the really cool nonfiction books that we have, because there are some amazing ones that I know I love.
Yeah.
Makes you like history.
Is there a particular author? It seems like when my girls went through school, when they got to middle school, there was an author that all the kids would read, and then they'd discuss the book. And is there an author right now?
Several. I mean, with the nonfiction, Steve Shankin is an
Okay.
amazing author with nonfiction, writes it just like a story. It's so well done. And then of course Rick Riordan, he's Percy Jackson, and he writes several different ones. Kids love him as an author. James Patterson, who a lot of adults will recognize that name, he writes a lot of adult books. He writes He has several series for middle school kids.
Okay.
And John Grisham, which a lot of adults have heard of, has a middle school series with Theodore Boone, a genius 13-year-old lawyer. So there are some, that's what's kind of fun too, is watching authors I liked as an adult start to write middle school level books. But I'm trying to push all different kind. I have library leaders that help me out, and I have them do book talks and book trailers or book reviews. And my encouragement to them is not to do the same old book. For example, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That is an all-time favorite. Those are well-loved, always checked out books. We don't need to do a book review on Diary of a Wimpy Kid because everyone already reads that. So I'm trying to encourage them to kind of pull out books that maybe are those hidden gems and talk about those books and get kids to read those and share why they think they should read them.
Talk a little bit more about your library leaders. How did that come about, and what do you use those
Well, that came about
for?
because I'm the only person in here, and there's a lot that goes on, and I'll get called out to go have, a teacher's projector isn't coming on. That's an emergency for that teacher, so I've got to go help them. Well, then there's nobody in the library if somebody comes in here and needs a book. So I talked to Mr. Wilson, and we set up library leaders. So I have 2 students every hour that help me, and so I train them at the beginning. And they know how to check in and check out books. They do book sorts. They create book trailers, but they are in charge when I'm not in here. So it's been really fun watching them because the 6th grade library leaders have to interact with 8th graders, which is a tough thing to do if you've never done it. They have to answer the phone when it rings. When an adult comes in and needs something, they have to talk to that adult and take notes and write down a message for Mrs. Ice. But to talk about, a message can't be someone came in. I need a name. I need to know what. Yeah. So it's really help with that. Teaching them how to do that and how to look like you're the person in charge, so people know to come to you and ask you. So it's been a really great thing to see them in that leadership role. But Mrs. Wilkins talks to them at the end of the semester or at the end of the year, and talks about this opportunity. We have over 100 sign up, and we can't let them all do it. But we have so many leadership opportunities, and this is just one more of those opportunities for kids to step into a leadership role. But it has helped me so much because I describe my job to the library leaders. I'm a little bit like a firefighter. You don't know what your day is going to be like, but if there's a little fire, I need to go put it out. And I don't know when that fire is going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but they're here. In fact, what happened today, the first thing this morning, I had to go do that, and he came back and he said, "Did you get the fire put out, Mrs. Sines?" I did. So they know that your day is never planned. It's whatever somebody else needs. That's what we do in here. Yeah.
Now I know that when I'm on the road, a lot of times I will download an audiobook and listen to that as well. Do the students check out audiobooks? Are they accessible?
We do. Audiobooks are quite expensive. So we don't have a lot through our Atrium app. I think I have less than 10.
Okay.
Our public library has a plethora of audiobooks. So my plea to anybody watching is, one of my goals is to have every single one of our middle school students, if they could have a working Abilene Public Library card. We have an app on our iPad called Overdrive that they can access all of these books. They're especially good for struggling readers. Plus, I talked about the Lexile scores earlier. You can listen to a book several levels above your Lexile and understand it and comprehend it. So it would give those kids who are struggling a chance to read more difficult text and not be frustrated with it. And we have had a push. There was a time, I think we're past it for the most part, but a lot of times teachers or parents think you're cheating if you're listening to a book. And there's been a lot of research that debunks that myth, that we know that kids who listen to books, their comprehension is higher, their fluency is higher, their vocabulary is bigger. So I think we're past that where we have teachers saying, no, you can't listen to a book. But I access a lot of the audiobooks through our Abilene Public Library, so I encourage our kids, but I'm working on a system to hopefully get every one of our kids with an Abilene Public Library card and access to as many audiobooks as they want, because they are a fabulous tool.
Right.
But for us, they're so expensive. I can get probably about 5 physical books for the price of a single audiobook that only a single student can check out. So we're still looking at ways, but we have a way to make that work through our Abilene Public Library, which is a great resource. They have so many books for our age kids that can be either ebooks or audiobooks.
All right. Well, what else would you like to talk about?
Well, I do want to put a plug in. I am also in charge of our middle school yearbook and yearbook orders are going to be due
Okay.
March 6th, but I know March 6th seems like a long way off.
Oh, it'll be here before
But
we
it is
know
going
it.
to be here before we know it. So all the students were given their yearbook form, but about 50% of our students don't use the form, they order online. So there's information on Canvas, I have information up around the school, but our yearbook orders will be due March 6th, so be sure and get your child that yearbook so they can have all their wonderful memories from middle school for this year.
Abilene Chiropractic and Sports Rehab, now open in Abilene, using a wide variety of techniques providing elite care for athletes and patients in everyday life. Call, click, or stop in today for an appointment. Paws and Claws, pets, supplies, and grooming. Your one-stop critter shop at 312 North Cedar in downtown Abilene. Find that perfect dress that's just a little big? Have a favorite pair of pants that's just a bit too long? Alterations in Abilene can take in, let out, shorten, and more. Stop into their new location today.
Around here, we believe in local values like hard work, family time, or a fair price on reliable internet from a local company. That's why Eagle Communications delivers great local values, like a range of internet options to fit your family's needs. Fast and consistent enough to power everyone's devices at once. All at reasonable prices we're proud to offer our friends and neighbors. Ready for better internet? Give us a call or visit eaglecom.net and discover our local values today.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have, and I want to thank Mrs. Zai. You can tell just by her enthusiasm that it's a fun place to be at Abilene Middle School Media Center, and so we thank you for agreeing to do this. Yep. And that's all we have now for USD 435 update. Thank you for joining us.